Hi everyone! Welcome to week 14 of our 2018 Home Organizing Challenge. This week we are continuing our focus on paper. Last week you were challenged to create an inbox system for all of those incoming papers that are coming into your house, really probably flooding your house right now. And so this is going to help reduce some of those paper piles that have been just laying around. So this week, now that you've got that inbox in place and hopefully those incoming papers are going straight into that, this week we are going to turn our focus to those piles that are already existing in your home. So your first task this week is to walk around and take all of those papers that have been piling up. So maybe walk around to all the different rooms, your dining room table, gather everything together, clear those kitchen countertops, maybe your bedside table started to pile up a bit. Go ahead and grab all of it from there. In your home office, all of that as well. So go ahead and get everything pulled together and let's start getting through these paper piles that maybe have been, overwhelming you quite a bit on your own. Now, I want you to ask yourself, when you're going through these paper piles, you really have two questions that will help you start to make some progress. Because what I tend to find when people start to go through paper piles, they pull everything together, they start going through those piles, and then what happens is maybe after 15, 20, maybe even 30 minutes, you look around and you've got 15 or 20 other piles that have now started. So I want to give you some really concrete, easy steps that you can take to make progress, not just to start moving papers around. We don't want to do that. So the first question that you want to ask yourself when you pick up a piece of paper and you're looking at it is, do I need the piece of paper or do I need the information that's on the paper? Sometimes, and this happens very often with things of reference, things that maybe events that we want to go to, maybe a newspaper article that was really interesting that we want to refer back to at some point. The important thing is the information that's on the paper. It's not the physical paper itself. And typically if we save that piece of paper, whether it's under a pile or it's filed away in a filing cabinet, we forget about it. We forget that it's even there. And so that date passes by, that coupon gets expired, or that piece of information that I thought was so great that I could use just gets kind of left by the wayside, and I never look at it again until I'm going through files maybe 5 years down the road and trying to make some room. So I really want you to ask yourself and get into the mindset of why we're keeping papers. Sometimes we keep papers because we're afraid to let go of them. We don't know if it's something we should keep, so we don't want to make a mistake, we don't want to do something wrong, so we just keep everything. But I really want you to get into the mindset of, do I need this physical piece of paper or do I need the information on the paper? Or maybe even is that paper, a flag to me that I need to do some sort of follow-up or action. Last week when we were setting up our inbox, I mentioned, my category folders back here. You want to always think in terms of category when you're going through these paper piles. So what is the next action that you need to take with that piece of paper? If that piece of paper is needed, then the next action that you would take is to file it. So you could set up a folder for filing and make one big pile of everything that needs to be filed. And like I mentioned last week, we will talk about setting up a very easily sustainable filing system, and we'll get there in just a couple weeks. So, again, this is going to be a little bit of a process, but we've got to get through all of this existing stuff first. All right, so maybe you have some things that need to be followed up on, maybe some phone calls. So you could actually make a separate phone call pile, or you could make a follow-up pile. So maybe that follow-up could be phone calls. It could be someone that you need to send an email to. Maybe you need to fill out a form and send it back in to whoever sent it to you. So think in terms of very broad categories. At this point, you don't want to really be separating things into 15 different piles. I would probably try to limit yourself to about 5 or 6 different broad action categories. All right, so that's what I want you to do this week. I want you to start gathering all of those papers that have been sitting around for days or weeks or maybe even months, and start going through those piles and making some really concrete decisions on what you need to do with it. As always, leave me some questions or comments if you have anything, if you get stumped. We're all here to help. I can't wait to hear about your progress. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.